So from today onwards, we are going to start with our online competitive exam coaching. So I'm the one who is the resource person going to start with the introduction of our lower plants. So I'm taking the bryophytes and pteridophytes topic for you all. So I'll start sharing my screen. So please, all of you concentrate, and if you have any queries, you can please put it in your chat box, or you can raise your hand so that then and there itself the points can be clarified. Instead of listening to all and putting the queries at the end, prior to that only, if we interact, the class should be in an interaction manner. So if you have any queries, then and there itself it will be clarified. So that is the first instruction I want to give for you all. So let me begin with my screen sharing of my topic today. I think my screen is visible to you all.
Yeah. Yes, madam.
You cannot please.
Your screen is visible, madam.
Yeah. Right. So we are going to start with today the general characters and the classification of bryophytes. So from this general characters of bryophytes and pteridophytes, at least 2 or 3 questions can be expected from your competitive exam point of view, either in your PG entrance or in your any competitive exam. Either 2 or 3 questions are expected. So you should have a thorough knowledge on what are the general, that is common characters among all the bryophytes. And then we'll go for the type study characters in the later classes. Okay, ma'am. So first and the foremost, I want to start with the word bryophyte. So what do you mean by here, the bryophyte? Phyta means we all know that it is related to the plants. And bryo means something, a small miniature like plant. Okay, the study of the bryophytes, the lowermost plants among the plant kingdom, is called as bryology. And collectively, these bryophytes, they are regarded as moss plants. Moss ante ikkada they are, the thallus will be like velvety, very soft. Okay, they are not hard enough. They does not possess uh, any tissues which are related to the mechanical strength, like collenchyma or sclerenchyma or endodermis, pericycle. No, they all are the mechanical tissues. They all tissues are absent. They possess only the parenchyma as well as the just small amount of collenchyma, that was storage capacity. So due to the tissues which are of simple tissues, these bryophytes have the thallus plant body, which is of a smooth, soft, and velvety nature. So that's why we call them as the mosses. Right. Next important point is these plants are commonly referred to as amphibians of the plant kingdom. Amphibians. So this is a term related towards zoology. Amphibian, we call that these are the plants which are having the habitat of both land as well as the water habitat. Uh, that means to say they are not living in water, they are not growing in water, but they are completely terrestrial. That means they will be growing on the land surface only, but they require water to complete their life cycle. They require water at the time of fertilization. That is, for the traveling of the male gametes towards the female gametes, they require water. For the swimming, they can't move like that. So with the help of the water only, they can reach the female gamete for fertilization. So that's why bryophytes are commonly referred to as amphibians of the plant kingdom. And all the students, please, you can note down these important points. They are very much useful for your exam point of view. Okay, so the question will be going on like this. Amphibians of the plant kingdom. In the multiple choice, they'll be asking you like algae, fungi, bryophytes, or pteridophytes. So the correct answer will be, you can interact, ma.
Bryophytes, madam.
Yeah, the correct answer will be
Bryophytes, madam.
bryophytes. Very good. So these are the points. So why we are calling them as the amphibians? Like sometimes they'll be asking you like reasoning questions also. Why we are considering them as amphibians? So because they are terrestrial and at the same time they require water, so that's why we call them as amphibians. But and another important point regarding this bryophytes are they are non-vascular plant. They comes under non-vascular. Okay, so they does not possess any vascular tissues. So what are the vascular tissues in the plants?
Xylem, phloem, madam.
Xylem and the phloem. Okay, so those are the vascular tissues. So we can't see any xylem and phloem in this thallus plant body. So we call them as the non-vascular plants. And these are the primitive and the most primitive of the land plants. So these are the first plants to evolve into the completely the terrestrial habitat when compared to the algae. So algae, we all know that majority of the algae are aquatic, so they stay in the water habitat. So from the, as per the Charles Darwin or from the evolutionary point of view, these are the plants which are evolved from the thallophytes, that is the algal group. So as they have evolved from the uh, aquatic habitat to the terrestrial habitat, so we consider bryophytes as the primitive land plants, primitive terrestrial plants or primitive land plants. Now, so these are all the points. So can you repeat what the points they have just said? Study of bryophytes is called as bryology. They are commonly referred to as amphibians of the plant kingdom. They are the most primitive land plants. These are the non-vascular plants as they does not possess any vascular tissues. And they are commonly referred to as mosses when compared to the structure of the thallus. Now, another important point is we said that they are terrestrial. So they grow. So terrestrial means where they are growing. Are they growing completely in the sun just like the angiosperms? No, they are not growing just like the angiospermic plants. They require a minimum sunlight, minimum intensity of the sunlight. So if they are exposed to the much of sunlight, they may die because they are the very, very small and primitive plants. So they always grow in a shady places. That means where the direct sunlight is not over there. So in that places, these bryophytes are going to be growing. And at the same time, they prefer to grow in the damp places. Damp places means where there is moisture. Okay, so they require very light intensity. That is, these bryophytes, they grow in the shady places where there is no direct sunlight, and the places should be moist enough so that they will absorb that moisture, and that some amount of moisture is sufficient for them for their fertilization process. So this is the most important point. Next, we are going for the another important character. The plant body is referred to as gametophyte. So this is a very, very important point. The dominant phase of the bryophytes are gametophyte. So why we are calling the plant body as a gametophyte here? Because on the plant body, that is on the thallus or inside the thallus, these plants, they develop the gametes or the sexual reproductive organs. So as we can see them directly born on the thallus or inside the thallus, we call them as embedded. Okay, they may be present on the surface of the thallus, or they can be inserted or embedded within the tissue. So that's why the dominant phase, that's why the adult plant is considered as a gametophytic thallus or gametophyte. Next, another important point here is, as I'm saying, the plant body is a thallus or a thalloid. That means to say we cannot see any differentiation of the plant organs. That means we can't see the presence of true roots, stem, as well as the leaves. Okay, so that's why the plant body is a thalloid plant body. But when we go for the higher bryophyte, that is advanced bryophytes, we can see the presence of root-like organs or shoot-like organs or the leaf-like organs. Okay, they are not true roots or true shoots or leaves, but we call them as rhizoids. The roots are represented as rhizoids. Shoot, that is the stem, is represented as the rhizome, and the leaves are called as the phylloids. Okay, so we are not representing, we are not saying the bryophyte plant organs as these three structures. We should not tell that they are the root system and the leaves. No, as because they are the very, very primitive, lowermost plants in the plant kingdom. Next, another important point. Next, the plants are green and possess the chloroplast. That means to say the rhizome, the thallus or the thallid plant body, they possess chloroplast in their tissues. Okay, so as we can see the presence of chloroplast, so naturally they'll have the chlorophyll pigment. So as they possess the chlorophyll pigment, the thallus or the plant body appears green in color. So these are the first, just like algal plants, these are also the green colored thalloid plant body. And the only difference lying between algae and bryophytes here is, in the algae, they are completely aquatic, and here they are terrestrial. So the question may goes like this. The plants with chloroplast completely terrestrial, or the terrestrial plants with chloroplast plant body are. What will be the answer?
Bryophyte.
Yes, bryophytes. Or in the answer, they may be giving you as the mosses. Or in the answer, they may be giving you like amphibians of the plant kingdom. So question can be twisted, but the concept is the plants are green in color as they possess chloroplast, and they are terrestrial habitat. Next. So I told you now roots are absent. So instead of roots, what are the anchoring organs of the plant? The plant is going, it is growing on the land. Okay, so it has to be fixed to the land surface. How it is getting fixed to the land surface? Something or the other should be present instead of roots. So what are they? We are calling them as rhizoids. Okay, what are rhizoids here? They are the root-like structures. How is the structure of a root? They are hair-like. Okay, so in the bryophytes, these rhizoids are, they are just resembling like an adventitious roots of the angiospermic plants. One of angiospermic plants, if we observe, how will be the herbs or a shrub root system? They are adventitious. That means they have a bunch of roots coming off directly from the bottom of the stem. Okay, they have no, there doesn't have any main root or tap. That is a taproot system. That is, that does not have a complete main root or the lateral roots like that. They have only a tuft of lateral roots, a bunch of lateral roots coming from the bottom of the stem. So that we call it as adventitious root system. In the same way, these rhizoids are also just like that. They are in a bunch-like structure. They are very thinner, and they are very, what we call it as, they are very delicate. Okay, very soft enough. So that's why we call them as hairy like. Sometimes they may be hairy like structures. So we call them as the rhizoids. So in the bryophytes, roots are replaced with rhizoids. Next, that does not possess any true vascular system. So we call them as non-vascular plants. So is this slide clear for you all? Is it okay?
Yes,
Regarding
ma'am.
the thallus. Yeah, so just have an overview of this here. So the bryophyte plant body, the dominant phase in bryophytes is gametophyte. Next, the plant body is a thalloid plant body. Next, the thallus will be green in color. After that, there does not possess any true roots. We call them as the rhizoids. And stem is considered as the rhizome. Next, vascular tissues are absent. So we call them as the non-vascular plants. Right. So when we go into the thallus, that is a gametophyte structure. So we can see here the thallus as does not possess any stem. So the complete thallus will be appearing just like a leafy-like structure, or it may be very thick. Okay, so in the case of, like you can see here, this is a liverwort, what we call it as the Markantia, or this is the moss plant. Okay, this is a liverwort, what we see. So this, when we observe the structure of the thallus here, the thallus will be appearing just like a leaf, leafy structure. But it is not a leaf, but it is a complete thallus where the thallus is very, very thick. It consists of photosynthetic tissue. It consists of assimilation tissue for storage. And from the bottom of that, we can see the rhizoid structure. This is the lowermost liverworts. So when we go for the mosses, that is the advanced bryophytes, we can see like in equisetum, we can see the, so we'll go with that in the next class, in the next slides. So generally the gametophyte will be a thick structure, green color structure, playing a role of just like a leaf. What is the role of a leaf? It functions, it plays the role of photosynthesis. That is, it will prepare the food material and store the food material. So in the bryophytes, the gametophyte thalloid plant body will play the role of just like a leaf. So the entire plant body will be playing the role of photosynthesis. So that is a very important point also that should also be remembered. The thalloid plant body performing the photosynthesis is what? It is bryophyte thalloid plant body. Next. Now, after that, we told you that the thallus is a gametophytic tissue. So, or a gametophyte, the dominant phase or the very important, the thalloid is called as a gametophyte. So, why called it as gametophyte? Because gametophyte, phyte means plant, gameto means it represents the gametes or the sexual organs. So, the plant body possess or develop the sexual organs directly on the thallus or on the thallus, or they can be embedded in the thallus plant body. So that's why we call it as a gametophytic plant body. So here, when you talk regarding the reproduction, so we all know that plants generally, they reproduce by three modes of reproductions. One is vegetative reproduction, and second one is the asexual reproduction, and third one is the sexual reproduction. So here also vegetative reproduction can be seen. That is, when the plants, they decay, or a small part of the plant when it is getting detached from the plant body or from the gametophyte, so it plays a role of vegetative propagation. That means that plant part, from the vegetative part, the plant can give rise to a new plant again. So as here there is no role of any sexual organs, so we call it as a vegetative reproduction. Okay, either by death or decomposing of the older parts of the plant, they may give rise to a new plant. So that is a vegetative reproduction. Now, when we go for the asexual reproduction, so generally we all, you have all have studied about that. Asexual reproduction is always be carried out with the help of the spores. Yes, even in the bryophytes also, the asexual reproduction will be carried out with the help of some specialized spore-like structures, like when we're talking about Marchantia. In Marchantia, they develop certain gamete cups. Inside that gamete, we can see spore-like structures called as gamete. So when they detach or when they disperse from the plant or the thallus, they develop or they germinate into a new plant. Okay, so that is a asexual mode of reproduction. And when we go for the sexual reproduction, so in the bryophytes, the mode of the, or the type of sexual reproduction, what we can see here, it is oogamous type. That is in sexual reproduction also, we can classify that into three types. That is isogamous type of reproduction, anisogamous, and the oogamous. So what is aniso, and oogamous type of sexual reproduction? So in all the three, generally sexual reproduction means it refers to the reproduction carried out with the help of gametes. Okay. So here in isogamous, when the two, that is the male and the female, so there is no differentiation. When the male gamete, that is when the gametes, whatever are released, their look appears same, both physiologically as well as morphologically. If they are playing a same, similar role, there is no differentiation at all. Only simply the gametes are fusing. We can't differentiate. So then that type of sexual reproduction is called as isogamous. Iso means similar. What similar? Morphological as well as the physiological. Both are same. Both the gametes will be similar to each other. So that is called as isogamous type of reproduction. In anisogamous and iso, that means in the morphological, the gametes will be different from one another. That means to say one gamete will be bigger in size and another gamete will be smaller in size. We can call it as macrogamete. Participants, please, you can mute yourself now. Right. So the larger gamete or the bigger gamete can be called as macro, and the smaller gamete can be represented as micro. So as we can differentiate both the gametes by looking at the appearance of them or morphologically, we call them as the anisogamous type of sexual reproduction. And when it comes to the oogamous type of reproduction, in the oogamous type, there is a clear differentiation, both morphologically and physiologically. Both the gametes are entirely different from one another. Okay, so as they are different from one another, we can now differentiate them as the male gamete and the female gamete. So when the gametes are differentiated as male and female, then that type of sexual reproduction is called as oogamous type of reproduction. And in bryophytes, the reproduction is always oogamous. That means there is a clear differentiation of a male and a female. Now, when we come to the male gamete, in the bryophytes, it is a common character for all the bryophytic group of plants. Male gamete will be very small. It will be motile. Motile in this sense, they possess the flagella, the movement, locomotory organs called as flagella. So the number of the flagella, it can be 2 or it can be many depending upon the type of genera. So definitely in all the bryophytes, the male gamete is very, very small and they are motile gametes. And when we come to the female gamete, the female gamete is always larger enough and it is a non-motile. We call it as a stationary. Okay, so depending upon the differentiation here, the male gamete is called as antheridia or the anthridiophores. Sorry, they are antherozoids. The male gametes are called as antherozoids, and the female gamete is called as an egg. Okay, so these male and female gametes, male gamete, we are calling it as antherozoids or spermatozoids, which are very small and they are motile. And the female gamete is called as the egg, which is large and non-motile. It is stationary, it can't move. So during fertilization, always the antherozoids or the spermatozoids, which are the male gamete, they only move and reach the female gamete for fertilization. Right. Next, this is regarding the male and the female gamete. Now, where are these gametes are developed? Are they developed directly on the thallus? No. These are the gametes. They develop inside their respective reproductive organs. Now, what are those reproductive organs here? Or we call them as the sexual organs. So, the male gamete, that is the antherozoids, they always develop in the male reproductive organ, which is called as antheridia. And the female gamete, the so-called egg or the oogonium, it develops in a female reproductive organ called as archegonia. So antheridia and the archegonia, these are the two reproductive organs of the bryophytes, which is the male and the female reproductive organ. So based on this point, in the exams, the question may go on like this. The lowermost plants to develop sexual organs. So only from bryophytes onwards, we can see the development of sexual organs. Before these bryophytes, the lowermost plant that does not possess any sexual organ. So bryophytes are the starting plants in the plant kingdom to develop the sexual organs, and the reproduction is of oogamous type. Am I clear up to this point? Male reproductive organ is antheridia. Female reproductive organ is the archegonia. Antheridia develop antherozoids. Archegonia develop what? Yes. Archegonia develop what?
Egg, madam.
Yes, it develops a female gamete, which we call it as egg or the oogonium. Right. So another important point regarding the bryophytes reproduction point of view is these sexual organs, that is both male and the female reproductive organ, they possess protective layers. That is, they are surrounded by certain protective cells or the protective layer of cells, what we call them as the jacket layer. So this is also a very important question. The sexual organs in the bryophytes are protected by the jacket layer of cells. So we call them as jacketed reproductive organs. That is, they are not simply lying inside like that. They will be covered with the protective layer. So you can see here. So this is the antheridia. So surrounding this antheridium, you can see here a layer of cells, which we call it as a jacket layer. And here this is the archegonia. In the archegonia also, you can see this is a jacket layer. Okay. And another important point here is these antheridia and the archegonia, they are stalked. That means at the base of these structures, we can see a small stem-like structure here by which it is attached to the gametophyte, or with which it is attached to the thalloid plant body. So as we can see the development of this small stalk-like structure, we call these sexual organs as stalked sexual organs. Okay. So the sexual organs in bryophytes are stalked, that is one point. They are protected by a jacket layer, second point, and they may be developed in on the plant body, okay, or they can be developed inside the thalloid plant body. That means they may be coming out. We call them as the, so like this, they may be attached, or so they are attached and they are emerging out of the thallus like this, which can be visible to our eye, or sometimes they may be embedded within the tissue like this. So we call them as embedded sexual organs. Clear? Right. So another important point here is regarding the reproduction. When we talk regarding the structure of the antheridia shape of this is a club shaped structure. That is, they are elliptical or they are sometimes oval or like this. We call them as a club, C-L-U-B, club like male antheridia. And always the archegonia is represented as a flask-shaped structure. So flask-shaped, what we call it as a flask-shape? Here you can see a globose lowermost body here, and attached to this there is an extended stem-like structure here towards upside. So as it is representing the flask-like structure, I can differentiate the parts of the archegonium as this globose lowermost part is called as the venter, and this long elongated structure here, what you can see towards upper side, this we call it as the neck. And attached to the neck on the top, we can see the two lid cells. We call them as cover cells, or we can call them as the lid cells. Okay, so this is a common structure of archegonium in all the bryophytes. That is a flask-shaped structure having the globose venter, and attached to this there is an expanded or elongated structure, we call it as a neck, and on the top of the neck we can see the lid cell or the covering cell. And the globose venter here, it plays a very important role as it is going to develop the female gamete inside it. You can see here this is the egg cell present inside the venter. And whereas the neck, it helps in passing the male gamete, what we call them as the antherozoids, to pass through this neck and reach the female gamete egg in the venter. Participants, am I clear for you all? Hello, please can you respond? Am I clear for you all?
You.
Yes, madam.
All of
Yes,
you
ma'am.
respond to the respected resource person.
Okay, right. So next comes to here. So when we talk regarding the male gamete or male sexual organ, what we call as antheridium, inside the antheridium, we can see all the tissue, whatever is present inside it, that we call it as microspore mother cell tissue or the male gametic tissue, male gametophyte. Okay, so that means male gametophytic tissue from which the male reproductive organs, that is called as male gametes, they will be released, which are the antherozoids. So you can see here, these are the antherozoids which are developed, the male gametes which are developed after the maturity of this antheridium. Okay, so we can see these are the antherozoids or the spermatozoids which are very, very smaller enough. They possess the locomotory organ, what we call it as flagella. With the help of them, they are going to reach the neck region, that is the lid cell or the cap cell region, from which when the female gamete get matured, then this neck cell will allow, it will, the neck cells here, you can see here in the passage, these neck cells, they will get degenerated and they will create a passage for these male antherozoids to reach this female gamete, the so-called the egg, for fertilization. So here, for the movement of this male gametes to reach the female archegonium, or for entry into this venter, they can't travel as such. So they require water. They require a medium for them to transfer. So the medium for which they are required to mate or to fertilize with the egg, the medium they require is the water. So that's why these are the plants, they grow in the moist places, or they grow very well only in the moist but not in the dry land. So for the moisture, so from the moisture, from that is from the water, these male gametes they will swim and then reach the female gamete for the fertilization. So after releasing
Madam,
of
some important notice.
yes,
1 minute, less than 1 minute is time here. So that's why please
yes,
include this gametophytic structure. So tomorrow better you will start the
start with the sporophyte.
Yeah. So all the participants, if you have any doubt, please interact with our respected resource person, Dr. Kavita Akula Madam Garu. Remaining students, you should careful during the class hour. You have to write important points, or keynotes, or key points, or bullet points. You should write. So that's very useful. So this is the wonderful class, never ever available. So, and my important suggestion, so all the participants should concentrate and make clear notes during the class hours. Also, this YouTube link also sent in our WhatsApp group. Okay, Madam, tomorrow sharp 11 a.m. we
Yes, sir.
will be in our Zoom.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Today's session, your
Participants, any doubts, please, you can clarify here. So
Okay,
sporophytic
ma'am.
structure and continue
First of all, you should
tomorrow.
unmute yourself. All the participants unmute yourself and interact with Madam.
So any point to be repeated or any doubt, you can please raise here. I think that